Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here.
Why are you giving them light-skinned eyes, bro?
Hey, why do people say that? That is so insensitive.
It's not. It was factual.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who does it? I just did it. I ain't light-skinned. Emmanuel Acho. The new suit or just not wearing it as much as I wear this blue one? Which one? You ain't gonna tell people? Oh, it's an old suit. All right, let's get it started in San Francisco, where all eyes will be on the 49ers selection with the third pick in the NFL draft on Thursday. Reports say it's coming down to two prospects, and it's believed to be who? Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Kyle Shanahan's contract runs through the 2025 season, and Peter King says he does not care about public opinion on who they should draft. So, Acho with the old suit. How much pressure is on Kyle Shanahan?
Sal, it's a ton, but I think that's the easy answer. I think you got to get into the whys, man. I've been looking forward to this topic. This whole show jam-packed, so I've been looking forward to this whole show. But there's a ton of pressure because Kyle Shanahan has to do two things. He has to pick the right player, and he has to make sure that that player exceeds all the other players. Typically, in an NFL draft, you just have to pick the right player. I remember talking to a high-level scout and a general manager one time, and I asked him, how much pressure is there to make sure you get the best player in the first round of a draft? They said, we don't need to get the best player. We just need to make sure that the player we get balls. So if we draft a player and he balls, we don't care if Marcellus drafts a player and Marcellus's player balls. As long as the player we get balls. I'm reminded 1984 NBA draft. The Houston Rockets, they don't draft Michael Jordan. But in their minds, it's probably to a degree okay because they draft Hakeem Olajuwon, still ends up being a top 25 player of all time, goes on to lead the Rockets to 2 NBA championships. So, no, you didn't get the greatest player of all time, but you did all right, right? You can hold your head high. I don't even think Kyle Shanahan has that luxury. In this draft, I think Kyle Shanahan has to draft the Michael Jordan, if you will. Not only do you have to draft a good player, you got to make sure you draft the best player. And the reason I say so, Sal, is because comparison, it is the thief of joy.
Steal it, brother.
Comparison is the thief of joy. I'm going to come out on my first lap like this.
What's up?
Mitch Trubisky's draft. Mitch Trubisky was, by statistical metrics, really good player the last 3 seasons. By statistical metrics, Mitch Trubisky went to the playoffs twice. By statistical metrics, Mitch Trubisky was all right, but there's a problem, Sal. Mitch Trubisky was in the same draft as Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Comparison is the thief of joy. So although the Bears did okay in drafting Mitch Trubisky, not in comparison to, man, Patrick Mahomes and what Deshaun Watson doing. I'll put it in context, and I'm going to pass the baton to my dog, Marcellus Wiley.
Stick!
Since 2018, look at where Mitch Trubisky ranks to other quarterbacks in the NFL draft. Winning percentage higher than Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, and obviously Sam Darnold. So Mitch Trubisky ranks ahead of 10 other NFL starters and high-paid quarterbacks. Mitch Trubisky about to be a backup, making, I think, like $4 million this year. Not because he was bad, but because other quarterbacks in the same draft made him look bad. Bringing it all full circle to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, you can't afford to draft the Mitch Trubisky. You can't afford to draft the dude who goes to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. You can't afford to draft the dude who's 25-13 in his last 38 starts. You got to draft the Patrick Mahomes. You have to draft the greatest of even the greats, thinking Patrick Mahomes came in the same draft as Deshaun Watson. You honestly can't even draft Deshaun. You got to draft the Mahomes.
Wow. You said a lot there because a lot of pressure is on Kyle Shanahan in this situation. More than a lot, a whole lot of Tyrese. I used to love that song. Anyway, pressure only exists outside of your comfort zone. When you try to stretch yourself, get in front of your skis, ahead of your skis, all of a sudden you start to feel the pressure because you're not comfortable. Pressure doesn't exist in your comfort zone. If I told you, Acho, get up right now and walk over there to the board, you don't feel pressure. When I say, Acho, go climb up there to the top and change some lights, you know, what'd you say? Because it's out your comfort zone. Kyle Shanahan's not a winning head coach. So whoever he drafts is going to take him out of his comfort zone because he's going to bet on this new quarterback to help him win despite having a winning quarterback on his roster. Give up assets for a prospect. pressure's on you. Give up assets for a prospect that plays a position that the only one you can point at on your team that is giving you an opportunity in his fully healthy season to make it to a Super Bowl is that same quarterback in that same position. This is senseless. It's a senseless move if Kyle Shanahan's going to draft a quarterback like all reports are indicating. But Kyle Shanahan knows this, and he's smart. He's a genius, not because he's an offensive coordinator, tremendous guru at the OC position, that is not a tremendous head coach. Like you said when I was off that 1 week, I'm going to hold that against you forever. He's not a genius in that respect. He's a genius because he's doing what Jeff Fisher did, and a lot of coaches do. How do I give me some more runway? This plane ain't took off like I think it should. Not just yet. Expectations are higher than my reality. Most important position on the field, quarterback. All I got to do is draft one and reset the franchises and fan base's mindset, and that will buy me time because you know what? I'm here as a guru, as a genius, and I must develop him. Develop him when you have a quarterback on your roster that is fully developed. Only problem with him is the durability. So Kyle Shanahan's going to run a scam right now. He's going to actually say, I'm going to catch lightning in a bottle twice. This is what I'm going to do. I traded for Jimmy G, and he saved the day because y'all remember 1-10, me, sorry, head coach, losing winning percentage right now as a head coach, even with Jimmy G a part of his percentage. And they make it to the Super Bowl 1 year when Jimmy G's healthy. But here's the lightning in the bottle. I'm going to do that again, but this time I'm going to draft him. Now, one, he has to be better than Jimmy G. But what's better than Jimmy G? Patrick Mahomes. Because the only thing that beat Jimmy G when he's healthy was Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
So what's the odds of you getting a quarterback that's going to be better than Jimmy G? Patrick Mahomes level. Good luck. And then two, you're betting on him being durable. I'm going to tell you from my perspective, being a former player, I don't give a damn if you play every game or not. How well do you play? I don't need a guy's like, man, I played all 16. How many tackles? 5. 5? The whole season? Yeah. Well, then, damn it. I'd rather somebody in spot duty if I'm going to take a gamble. To me, this is a senseless gamble, as you told me. This is splitting tens in blackjack. This is literally, what are you doing? You already got what you need. Double down and build resources around Jimmy G.
My dog says splitting tens and double down in a sentence. You sound a real casino like Marcellus.
I'm about to go
Wiley.
hit it. Hey, it's opening up out here in these streets.
I'm gonna take your statement and I'm gonna add to that because I like where you're at.
Okay.
I do think that pressure exists when you're outside your comfort zone.
Facts.
But I also think pressure exists when there are consequences. You said, hey, Acho, walk over to the board, no pressure. Hey, Acho, go change the light, pressure. I co-sign that sentiment. But if you also said, hey, Acho, walk over to the board. If you don't trip, I'll give you $1 million. If you trip on the way over to the board, you owe me $1 million.
That's pressure?
Well, I'm now walking flat-footed. I ain't walking in the Uggs. Because what if the Uggs get caught on something? See, there's pressure. I'm now calculating my decisions more because there's a consequence to my action.
Okay.
So I do think, what is the pressure for Kyle Shanahan? The pressure is, I think there will finally be consequences. Sale hit the nail on the head several times over the last course of the week in that, is Kyle Shanahan guru? Is he not? 2017, Kyle Shanahan passes on Patrick Mahomes or drafting Deshaun Watson.
Now we talking.
Top of his list was Myles Garrett, Solomon Thomas, linebacker Reuben Foster. Because Kyle Shanahan was like, you know what? I can go get me Kirk Cousins after his franchise tag expires. I'm going to get Kirk Cousins in 2018.
Now we cooking.
But by the middle of 2017, Kyle Shanahan was like, bump all that. I'm going to go get Jimmy G in a trade. Trade for Jimmy G. Then decides to make Jimmy G the highest paid quarterback at the time. Just 2-3 years later, trade 3 first-round picks to now replace Jimmy G. So many people have asked, is Kyle Shanahan the guru that we think he is?
No.
Now, he says no, I say maybe. The draft is going to dictate it because Kyle Shanahan has been able to evade some of the punishment he probably should have gotten. 3 losing seasons in his first 4 years. But ain't no punishment for that. So now, what is the consequence if Kyle Shanahan messes this up? I think he's going to be gone like his daddy. Mike Shanahan, 2012, trades 3 first-round picks to acquire Robert Griffin. Robert Griffin wins Rookie of the Year, 2012. 2013, they go 3-13. By 2014, Mike Shanahan is gone. Kyle Shanahan, his first hand seen the pressure of trading 3 first-round picks to draft the quarterback that you want, to see it not work out, to be gone shortly thereafter. So if pressure is to some degree tied to consequence, and the consequence is losing your job, of which only 32 exist, then I do think there's even more pressure for that reason.
Man, what'd you do this weekend? Whatever you did, do it again, because you finally come around to where I'm talking about maybe, guilty or not guilty. Ain't no maybe guilty. It's guilty.
The jury is deliberating.
No, we right here. It is a conviction. Look, I call it like I see it. Look, if I see Kyle Shanahan out, I'm going to say, hey, man, respect for you. But at the same time, there's a difference between being a backup in the league, and we all started off as backups, at least most of us, right? You're so stupid. You're like, started off and finished. Hey, I ended that way, too. Let's not trip. But when you are a backup, there's always this exaggeration of how great you are if you do even a little good. I remember I get a sack in 5 backup games. Whoa, if Wally was out there every play, you know what I'm saying? I was like, it's going to be different if I'm out there every play. Trust me, I'm not getting a sack every game. It's not happening. So here's the thing about it. Kyle Shanahan has escaped that criticism. First of all, who in the hell gave him the credit card to make this purchase? Like, he has not earned it. He should have no money on his credit card, if no credit card at all. Because why are you in this position right now when I'm looking at a coach who has, you said some good stats, so let's repeat them again because they were my stats. They finished last in the division twice and third once in 4 seasons. They've only made the playoffs 1 time in 4 years. Let's talk about how they're at the bottom half of the league as a guru in points per game in 3 of his 4 seasons. 75%, y'all. That's a guru? Come on, man. How about this? Because a lot of times they talk about, in the NFL, turnovers and discipline is taught. Like, teams that don't take care of the football, they're not really being properly instructed. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers have given up the ball 109 times since he became a coach. The only team who has given up the ball more was the lowliest franchise before Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Bucks. Dog, there's so many indicators that say, what's going on, Shanahan? And then you want to always go to the carousel of quarterbacks. Well, Jeanie G's not there, so the other quarterbacks. I got a stat for that, too. There have been 3 other head coaches in the last 20 years. 20 years, that's about your age right there, Acho, that has had as many different starting quarterbacks as Kyle Shanahan to suffer through in his first 4 seasons. And they all have had a better record than Kyle Shanahan. And none of them were called a guru. And 2 of the 3 had a winning record before.
Who were they?
You want to know the names?
I need the names.
Lovie Smith. Oh, you let Lovie Smith beat you or something? I love you too. Brad Childress. What? Bill O'Brien. Hey. So the point is, no gurus, I don't think. And we got a guru over here. This is my biggest issue when I look at this situation. We're talking about pressure. The best example of pressure is that sports psychologist story that I told you before, and I'm going to tell them again since they weren't watching that day. There's a 2x4 on the floor. Walk across it, Acho. You're like, Uggs or not, flat-footed or not. I could walk across a 2x4 because there's nothing. It's just a 2x4. And then that sports psychologist broke our minds when he said this. Put that 2x4 between 2 skyscrapers. Now walk it, homie. And you're like, consequences you brought up. I'm talking about just being out your comfort zone, which leads to those consequences because you're not comfortable. Kyle Shanahan is playing with, I don't even know if it's house money, but he's playing with money he hasn't earned. This is going to be the indictment on him if this draft selection doesn't pan out.
So, I'm there. I'm there with you.
All right, guilty.
No, because you said this is going to be the indictment if this doesn't pan out.
But we already know he's guilty.
He's not deliberating. He's not. We got it. Here's the kicker, though.
Okay.
Nick Mullins, we already know. First 16 games as a starter, 2nd most passing yards in NFL history to only Patrick Mahomes. So, yes, his record, porous, but yards, great. And what is Kyle Shanahan supposed to help a quarterback do? Win games. But winning games can also be contingent upon your defense, their health, your special teams, etc. We know the Niners lost star players this past year. So, Nick Mullins individually as a quarterback, statistically, did just as far as accumulating yards, 2nd to only Patrick Mahomes in the history. Now, I asked you to give me the names of the head coaches that have suffered just as many quarterbacks in their early tenure. because it matters. I can't completely indict Kyle Shanahan for having to play with C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo for his starting quarterback missing 50% of the snaps, or roughly 25 games over the last 3 seasons. I can't make that indictment. You mentioned Bill O'Brien, but remember, it's kind of like that analogy you give. Bill O'Brien put his back, leaned up against the wall, and complained that his back was up against the wall. Bill O'Brien chose to start Tom Savage, Deshaun Watson's rookie year. He chose to start Tom Savage, and then he benched Tom Savage for Deshaun Watson. That's on Bill O'Brien. So Bill O'Brien has entered himself into a category by his own idiotic behavior as opposed to the nature of a quarterback getting hurt. You mentioned Lovie Smith. I don't know if Lovie Smith ended up with Jay Cutler after Rex Grossman. I don't know where that played in, but either way, like Jay Cutler is an upgrade over Nick Mullins. Jay Cutler is an upgrade over C.J. Beathard. So when I look at it, Sal, Kyle Shanahan is not yet guilty as charged. Now, if he goes around, drafts Trey Lance and Mac Jones balls, goes around, drafts Mac Jones and Justin Fields balls, he will very quickly become guilty because at this point in time, the jury is leaning towards him being guilty. But there's still a couple jurors in there that's like, wait a second now. I need it to be inextricably clear. I need inextricable evidence. And you know you got to make a unanimous decision. And people aren't unanimously deciding that Kyle Shanahan don't know what he's doing. But this will be the final nail in the coffin.
Well, let me be the judge. Shut up, jury. He guilty. I'm going to override your decision, whatever. Look, here's the thing. He's really splitting those tens. Look, you're going to draft someone at a position you really don't need if that guy can stay healthy. But you're going to draft somebody and there's no guarantees that guy will stay healthy. I love my life. Trey Lance, you going to be healthy in the NFL? You don't know. Mac Jones, you going to stay healthy? I don't know. So there's a question mark all around.
But you do know Jimmy G won't.
So wait a minute.
You know it.
Hold on. Didn't he make it to a Super Bowl? Did he stay healthy?
Sal, we have a 56-game sample size, and you know Jimmy G won't.
No.
So here's a question. The question is...
That's why you try to cut me off.
No.
You know I got momentum. I got that thing rolling. Keep going.
The question is this, Sal.
Dante Culpepper somewhere.
Would you take the Jimmy G that you know will get hurt, or will you take what's behind door number 1? At this point, your boy taking what's behind door number 1.
And they go out there with the old suit, look at the mess, because you took door number 1. I'm taking what I already got. When they say bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush, what the hell? I don't get why people say that, but I take a bird in hand. Here's the thing. First of all, durability, there's no guarantee. Like, come on, man, let's go back to school. All right, common denominators. Let's talk about this. Let's really isolate variables. There are no guarantees with durability with anybody, let alone these guys. These guys have been injured in college. Them some little dudes that could be working at FedEx next year. This is the pros. Everybody working in the league, bruh. Second thing is he going to be better than Jimmy G? One, he has to just climb up to where Jimmy G is, which is make a Super Bowl, bruh, and ball out in the process. Even though in the playoffs they ain't really use you, Jimmy G, but still, you got there, damn it. Now, what's better than Jimmy G in that moment? Fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes. That's it. So you got 2 line items that there are huge question marks about. And you're going to put your entire resume and career on this? Oh, I got a long list of offensive coordinators who failed as a head coach. Kevin Gilbride, Cam Cameron, love you. Marty Morningwig, North Turner, Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels, Kyle Shanahan.
Don't do that. Don't do it. He made a Super Bowl. That's a failure.
Okay,
he made a Super Bowl.
You're right. But I'm going to write it in pencil. Be careful. We're going to watch you this draft. Coming up, so the Patriots draft a quarterback to compete with Cam Newton. We'll answer that. But first, our own Bucky Brooks brought up a scenario. So what's the scenario? The Ravens trade Lamar Jackson. What? We'll tell you if he's replaceable in Baltimore. Next. I don't want to do this one. Speak for yourself.
Lamar Jackson is a former MVP and the face of the Ravens franchise. But what if they traded him? Our own Bucky Brooks suggested since the Ravens have a lot of draft capital, including 2 first-round picks this year, they could trade Jackson and go with the rookie quarterback instead. Now, Bucky added, quote, they could take a collegiate approach to the quarterback position. They cash in on a blue chip and take Justin Fields, and then maybe they operate as a collegiate team. One quarterback graduates and the other steps in the starter's role. You now have the opportunity to keep a starting quarterback on a young deal to build up the rest of the assets and play smash mouth football. I must add, Bucky Brooks was sober while he came up with these thoughts. Now, I just had to set the table, Bucky. Just, some people will start to question your decision-making. I'm not going to say where I land on this spectrum. I'm going to let you kick it off, Bucky. You joining us. Why do you say Lamar is replaceable on the Ravens?
Okay, so let's go all the way back to when the Baltimore Ravens started Lamar Jackson at quarterback. John Harbaugh actually set the table for this. He said, we are the army of the National Football League, meaning we run the football, we play option football. This is something that is systematic that gives us an advantage over other NFL opponents. And so with that, I started thinking, okay, if they're talking about being the army of the National Football League, that means that he is taking a collegiate approach to how they do it. And so now when we look at the facts when it comes to building a Super Bowl team, it is factual that when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, you can build a better team. It puts you in better position to field a Super Bowl champion. And so when you look at the situation now where we are with Lamar Jackson is about to have his fifth-year option picked up. He's about to be a quarterback that commands maybe $40 million. Eric DeCosta said, man, it is really hard to build a team when the quarterback commands so much money. So why not this year? They traded away Orlando Brown to get 2 first-round picks. If Justin Fields happens to slide, they could be in range to grab Justin Fields, continue to have Lamar Jackson play on his 5th-year option, and then rather than pay him $40 million plus per, they could say, hello, graduation. We now have a redshirt freshman who is ready to pick up the deal. We can keep all of the assets and the pieces in place and continue to do what we do, because doing what we've done, we're 31-7 since we made the wholesale investment in this option approach. Maybe, just maybe, the team can sustain the success by having a rookie quarterback continue to take it on.
You the one that got a retort, because I'm agree with my dog.
Bucky, this is going to hurt. I mean, for real, I was at home deliberating, really having an internal conversation because of my likability and my love for Bucky Brooks. I call you Rosetta Stone because you translate football better than anybody I know in the sport. However, you wrote this, and you really meant this. And I just said you were sober, too. Woo! Boy, you got me drunk on this one. I don't understand this. Lamar Jackson is not replaceable, party people. Oh, you think he is? Okay, let's look at this franchise before Lamar Jackson got there, recent history. Of those 5 years before Lamar Jackson got there, there were 4 years with no double-digit wins. Since Lamar Jackson has taken over, every year is double-digit wins. Okay. Whatever, you can say it's about other people, but not just Lamar Jackson. Oh, let's talk about Lamar Jackson since he's been a starter. Number 1 in the NFL in terms of wins, his rank. Let's talk about points per game. Number 1 in the NFL. Number 1! Rush yards per game, number 1, and number 2 and third down, money down. Okay, you can say it's about others still. All right, well, you're drinking what Bucky wasn't drinking, I guess. Here's the thing. Lamar Jackson has already won a unanimous MVP. On a franchise where there was no sight of anybody going to win a unanimous MVP, let alone help them win even 10 games. But he's replaceable right now. This is interesting. An early Halloween little costume, I guess, Bucky's wearing. Take that mask off, Bill Polian, because I know who you are. You're talking about Lamar Jackson out of turn. Woo! Let's go here, because this is Nugget Central around here. Don't forget that Lamar Jackson is trying to do this in a situation and circumstances and an environment that is not conducive to what he's done. Lamar Jackson led the league in passing touchdowns with an offensive coordinator that has never had a passing offense that wasn't bottom 10. Slow it down, Wiley, because everybody can't digest that. His offensive coordinator in all of his 8 years has never had a passing offense out of the bottom 10. Let alone, Lamar Jackson says, move that to the side. Let me lead the league in passing touchdowns. Woo! You add up what Lamar Jackson has done in terms of impact, in terms of confidence, in terms of production, in terms of accolade, in terms of achievement. How do you replace that? You can't replace that. And do you think you're going to replace it with something cheaper, a rookie contract coming forward? You're going to get exactly what you paid for, something on the cheap.
I like this. Hey, Bucky, great fire off point, great column, great thoughts. There's about to be a great dialogue.
Okay.
Can you replace Lamar Jackson individually? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Can you replace him collectively? Absolutely. Now, Sal, I'm going to say some things that might hurt. And Ravens fans, I ask you to take out your feelings from a factual conversation. Every player in the NFL is replaceable. 2015, the Dallas Cowboys, they go 2014.
Yeah, rewind that.
2014, the Dallas Cowboys go 13-3 under Tony Romo. 2015, Tony Romo goes 3-1 as a starter, but he gets hurt. The Cowboys end up 4-12. So Tony Romo was 16-4 in his prior 20 games. Enter the 2016 NFL Draft. I was covering the Cowboys at the time, working at the Star. Is Tony Romo replaceable? Heck no. Absolutely not. There is no way you can replace Tony Romo. So much certainty that the Cowboys don't draft a quarterback until the 4th round. A man by the name of Dak Prescott, who just so happened to play so well that Tony Romo starts calling games a year later. Now, Tony Romo, if you would have asked anybody, is he replaceable? A resounding no. And it should be a resounding no. 16-4 in his previous 20 games, but Tony Romo got replaced like that. Now, let's not talk about the Cowboys, America's team. Let's not talk about Tony Romo. Let's talk about Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for Lamar Jackson. Now, look, Marcellus, I buckled up, I prepped, I put on my glasses for this moment.
Finally.
Bucky Brooks, you ain't never really said anything more logical in your life, but let me break it down for my emotional Ravens fans whom I love. We can all kind of conclude Colin Kaepernick was a better quarterback in San Fran than Alex Smith. It's probably a safe assumption. Look statistically, ask Niners fans, it's a safe assumption. Or is it? Alex Smith last year as a starter, he went to the conference championship game, and they lost. Colin Kaepernick's first year as a starter, full starter, went to the conference championship game, they lost. Remember, they go to the Super Bowl, Alex Smith starts, gets hurt, Kaepernick takes over. But if you look at them as starters, you got the same results. Now, Colin Kaepernick, on paper, he outperformed Alex Smith, or did he? 400 more total yards. He had more touchdowns by 6, but he had more giveaways by 5. So as far as contributing to quality output, it's just about the same. Exact same results. They both went to a conference championship, and they both lost. So, yeah, on paper, you say, man, Colin Kaepernick, he couldn't have been replaced. But Alex Smith really gave you about the same thing. Can you replace Lamar Jackson individually? No. But collectively, can you replace him? We've seen it historically with Greg Roman-led teams, and we've seen it with the NFL with Dak Prescott replacing the irreplaceable Tony Romo.
Oh, get it,
That's my dog. That's my dog. Acho brought it in because right now we're on the relay team. Acho's the third leg. He's giving me the stick to bring it home as the anchor. He's done it because the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick is exactly what we're talking about. It's systematic. It's not individual. And I'm not disrespecting Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is great. But when you look at this, the system has been conducive to dual threat quarterbacks having success. You mentioned Alex Smith being able to get the 49ers to the championship game. Colin Kaepernick takes the baton and takes them to the Super Bowl. You go to Buffalo. Look at what Tyrod Taylor was able to do in a similar system. You now go to Baltimore. We sit here and watch Lamar Jackson play at an MVP level. Remember, there was a game where Lamar Jackson didn't play. And I looked at Robert Griffin III and Trace McSorley take the Pittsburgh Steelers to the brink. And I'm not saying that that is the perfect example, but let's look at it this way. I'm looking at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley. Baker Mayfield wins a Heisman Trophy. Baker Mayfield graduates. Kyler Murray steps in. Guess what Kyler Murray does? He wins a Heisman Trophy. I see him leave. Guess what Jalen Hurts does? He has a lot of success.
Finalist.
So I'm not saying that it's individual, but what I'm saying is if the system is correct, the player will produce. Now it's just about getting players with similar traits. And I'm saying Justin Fields is a certifiable baller. You get him, you let Lamar Jackson play another year, then he graduates, you hand it to Justin Fields. The success remains the same because the system has proven that. I'm just saying, it's food for thought, something that Baltimore fans need to think about. Fact,
Food for thought, and I'm eating it. Wow. Wow. Facts over feelings. You're trying to go down there. Don't twist it in me, too, because you know that's how I feel in life.
And this is not fair. This is not fair 2-on-1 right now. Y'all running a relay. I'm out here in the open 400 trying to catch all y'all on them 100 splits. Okay. But you know what? I just saw this viral video of this dog, and I'm a dog, chasing this girl down. And that dog was huffing and puffing, chased that whole relay down and finished, and then cut her off at the finish line. Trip over this. Woof, woof. Here's the dog in me coming back out. I ain't never scared. One, y'all are giving me two scenarios and situations where injuries created opportunity. That's completely different than replaceable. Let me say it again. Y'all gave me where Dak Prescott took over from an injured Tony Romo, and Alex Smith lost his job because of injury to a Colin Kaepernick. Hey, if Lamar Jackson is getting hurt out there, Lamar Jackson get banged up, and somebody does what Dak Prescott did, which was go 11-1 when you're injured, then I don't know what team you on if you're not going to replace them. But what you guys are saying is different. Y'all trying to make a preemptive strike. Y'all trying to say, we ain't even got beef with that country over there, but load up the missiles. I'm like, for what? They have not done a damn thing. But let me tell you about the Ravens. That didn't do a damn thing before Lamar Jackson, especially offensively in this respect. They never in their history led the league in scoring offense, but they did in 2019. I wonder who the quarterback was. Come on. Y'all think this is funny? This is not a game. 7th that season, 1st in scoring offense last season. 2 highest ranked since 1996. Acho was 6 years young. Last time we saw the Ravens out there tilting with this type of offense consistently. And then I give it to you like this. Ravens scored 30 points a game with Lamar Jackson last season. And the only time he missed a game, guess how many they scored? 14. But y'all want to go to collegiate approach. Just give me anybody in there. It's the system. I thought Lamar was the system, but now it's anybody's the system. Okay, last thing I want to say about this is, how in the hell are we going to replace who was just voted the best player in the entire NFL under the age of 25. At least start at, number 20, maybe number 10, but number 1 voted best player in the NFL. Y'all want to get him up out of here? Anybody? Anybody on this relay? Make it make sense.
Yes, and here we can. I'm glad you brought up the relay. You can afford to lose Usain Bolt, the fastest man who has ever run track and field. You can afford to lose him because he runs one leg. If everybody else gets faster, you can, as a team, collectively run a faster relay race. Now, what am I saying?
Nothing.
You can replace.
They could have been faster. Why they ain't gonna wait till he gone and then get faster?
Because maybe they're contributing to a style of play. Think about it, Sel. Think about it. But I had to do the same thing.
I'm listening, but I'm mad.
Let's take our feelings away from factual conversation. How do you go replace Kyrie Irving? Everybody says he's the best finisher in the game. Everybody says Kyrie Irving is a dude. I don't know why you give me that face. Is Kyrie Irving not a dude?
Yes, but why are you making this example?
I'm bringing this example because Kyrie Irving averaged 24, 7, and 6 for the Boston Celtics in 2000 and the 18-19 season. Now, Kyrie Irving moves on to the Nets, and all of a sudden, the Celtics get better. They actually go further. Why? Because when Kyrie was averaging 24, 7, and 6, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were only averaging 16 and 13. Kyrie leaves and Jason Tatum starts averaging 24 and Jaylen Brown 20 because collective people can replace an individual. Kyrie ain't irreplaceable. Don't get it twisted. Kyrie a dude. But a collection can replace an individual. So the last thing I'm going to say is this. And again, Ravens fans, if you can remove your feelings, feel this.
Feel it.
Unless your quarterback is named Tom Brady, the likelihood of you winning a Super Bowl is exclusively dependent on you having a quarterback under his rookie contract since 2011. Joe Flacco, rookie contract. Russell Wilson, rookie contract. Patrick Mahomes, rookie contract. Eagle starter, Carson Wentz, rookie contract. All other Super Bowl winners since the Joe Flacco Super Bowl were named Tom Brady, who takes deals on the cheap, or there was 1 year with Peyton Manning. So with that being said, the last 9 Super Bowls, 4 rookie contracts, 4 Tom Brady, 1 Peyton Manning. So unless you can replace Lamar Jackson, with Tom Brady, which isn't going to happen, then you better win on your rookie contract. So if you remove your feelings from a factual conversation, all Bucky and I have given you all are facts. You might not like to digest them, but that medicine can be good for you.
It can be. And take a big old scoop of it, Marcellus, because I want you to be healed when it comes to this conversation, because here's what we're talking about.
What?
We're not saying that Lamar Jackson doesn't deserve to be
Correct.
the MVP. He
say that again, Bucky. Say it again, Bucky. Bucky, say that again.
All his flowers. I want him to get all the money.
All of them.
He just
All
can't
of
get the
them.
money where we are, because what it does is it wrecks how we can build our team. Remember, we have a dominant defense. We have an offensive line that can get it done. We have a system in place that elevates running backs. And so all we're asking is, look, if Lamar Jackson wants $40 million plus, we can't go that route because it wrecks the structure of the team. However, if he's going to give us a discount, then that's a different conversation. But if we're not getting a discounted deal, now we have to look at the rookie deal, because if not, we're on the verge of hitting that purgatory that the Rams found themselves in when they handed the big contract to Jared Goff, the purgatory that the Eagles found themselves in with Carson Wentz. And so when you just think about this, the graduation model is one that exists and is very successful, because remember, the team that we claim to be the bully in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, they graduated Alex Smith, and out came Patrick Mahomes. And the success that they had with Alex Smith continued with Patrick Mahomes, even to a greater level. So, yes, the players certainly contribute, but man, when the system is in place, it really sets up a lot of people to have a lot of success.
Here's the secret, Bucky, and you flirted with the secret. I'm going to just say it
I love that book.
Exclusively.
Good book.
Big dog, y'all got to win your Super Bowls when your quarterback's on his rookie contract. That's what it comes down to. Go back to Ben Roethlisberger when the Steelers won, rookie contract. To Joe Flacco, to, like I said, Russell Wilson. The Cowboys messed up when they didn't win when Dak was on his rookie contract. When the Cowboys went 13-3, and again, I was there. I was in the facilities. So I'm telling y'all, this ain't like a biased Eagles fan speaking. Cowboys, y'all should have won when Dak was on his rookie deal, either the 13-3 season, the 10-6 season. The Rams, their chance was when Jared Goff was on his rookie deal. The Eagles, they snuck one in thanks to Nick Foles, albeit Carson Wentz's major contributions, because they were on a rookie deals. If the Ravens are going to get one, which I think that they can, y'all better find a way to do it this year, or maybe fifth-year option, because after, historically speaking, empirical data speaking, not my opinion, after that rookie deal winds up, it's really over for you in that Super Bowl window.
Yeah, they told that to Tom Brady, and that sucker just won one with the oldest. He ain't no rookie. Sucker, the oldest dude ever played football in history, and he's still winning. But, you got to be on your rookie deal to win one. He's won a third of them since he entered the league. Okay. I never question you again in my life, God. I would never do it. But, when you're young, you don't know better. You don't know right from wrong. I used to question, why do I have two hands? And God has never been more clear in my life. To punch Acho and to punch Bucky. This is why I have lightning and thunder. I'm over here causing firestorms. Good Lord. We haven't even talked about his offensive prowess with his legs. So whoever you're going to go draft, I don't think they're going to be as capable as Lamar Jackson, being real. Let's just talk about that first quarterback in NFL history with 1,000+ rushing yards in multiple seasons. Oh, another first for Lamar Jackson. Oh, let's go historical. Because if you talk about win percentage since 1950 at his age, no one has won more games, but we just gonna replace some. Interesting. Acho, put yourself back on the screen, homeboy. Stop looking at your phone. How did it work out for those Celtics getting rid of Kyrie Irving? That 32 and 20. 32. No. They right here. We right here. I could give you. I know they went to the finals. How did it work out for them? Did they win? No. Okay. So how did it work out for them? They 32 and 29. You think? A blip? Oh, so you happy with a blip? I'm trying to get consistent excellence. Oh no, don't leave back because it ain't your turn. You already went 7 times. Let me get one in. It is simple as this. When you look at what Lamar Jackson has done, not only save his coach's job, stabilize the franchise, but take a team and an organization that couldn't even find double-digit wins, couldn't find the playoffs in the last few years, find themselves in this position. Why do y'all think he's replaceable? If he gets hurt, like every other example you've given me, then I get it. But why are y'all trying to get ahead of this?
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Do you know what happened in Joe Flacco's last season as a starter? They lost their first game in the playoffs. You know what happened in Lamar Jackson's first full-time season as a starter? They lost their first game in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they're getting the same ultimate results. It may be decorated
They won one
differently,
last year, though.
but they getting the same ultimate
Did they win one
results.
last year?
You bring up the Celtics.
Did they win one last
Kyrie
year?
gets
No, you
hurt.
bring up the Celtics.
I bring up the Celtics.
That was a bad example.
Kyrie gets hurt, Eastern Conference Finals. Kyrie plays, losing the semis. Kyrie leaves, Eastern Conference Finals.
Where they at now?
A collection of
Where they at now,
Can we
Acho?
get to the playoffs? And we're going to do that show.
They ain't gonna get to the playoffs because it's play-in game time. Shoe program, Acho. That's where they at. We don't know if they even gonna make it. 32-29, 6th seed. In the East, stop it. Coming up, Kevin Durant returned in a big way Sunday. But we'll tell you if KD or James Harden is more important for the Nets' success. Next on Speak for Yourself. You don't want to stay in the present? Let me know. Kevin Durant missed 3 games with an injury, but he did not look rusty Sunday. KD scored 33 points off the bench in the Nets' win over the Suns. Brooklyn has had a revolving door of their superstars and injuries, including James Harden for the last 10 games, but they're still the #1 seed in the East, Acho. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Acho, who's more important to the Nets' success, Kevin Durant or James Harden?
This one is tough, but for me, it goes to KD. In the regular season, you could argue James Harden, but it's KD, and it's KD very simply. The last 8 games of James Harden's last 8 seasons, he's lost by a combined 16 points. Elimination games, if you will, because they're in the playoffs, and at that point in time, you're on the verge of being eliminated. KD, his last 3 seasons, this ending of the season was fighting to win an NBA championship, fighting so much so that he tore his Achilles and had to sacrifice a season in the middle of his prime, or winning an NBA Finals MVP or winning another NBA Finals MVP. Conversely, James Harden, he has gone 2 of 13 twice over the course of elimination games. Remember, James Harden was on a team that missed a historical 27 consecutive 3-pointers in a game in which you had to win. KD could not fix his lips, his arms, his elbows, or his follow-through to miss 27 or be a part of a team that misses 27 consecutive threes. James Harden, he going 2 for 13 in elimination games. KD fires off on people on Twitter, then drops 31 points on 17 shots. It's just the difference in the cloth in which they are cut from. James Harden has been historically healthier, especially as of late, outside of this hamstring, which we know he will return from, soft tissue injury. But when it comes down to the real games, the important games, needing that killer and that killer instinct, give me Kevin Durant.
Acho, I agree with you. I'm glad you went with the numbers, and I appreciate the fact that I always wondered what Santa Claus would look like if he decided to go double-breasted suit. Now I have an idea. I appreciate you. I'm not going to go numbers. I'm simply going to go, when you look at the combinations, the experience, there's only one guy when it comes to the Nets championship or the top caliber players, there's only one guy who has championship experience, and that's Kevin Durant, twice over. He knows what it takes to get there. He knows what a championship team looks like. I'm just going to go by feels. You went numbers, I'm going to go feels. When you say Kyrie and James Harden, are they going to lead you to a championship? You're like, nah. Then you say KD and James Harden, could they lead you to a championship? You're like, And then if you go KD, Kyrie, could that lead you to a championship? There's the possibility there when you have Kevin Durant because he's done it and he's done it on the biggest stage. And let's keep in mind, when the Warriors couldn't win it, who did they go recruit? They went and recruited Kevin Durant. When Kyrie wanted to go to Brooklyn, who did he want to join up with him? KD. When KD and Kyrie were in Brooklyn, where did James Harden want to go? He wanted to go to Brooklyn. All roads lead to Kevin Durant being the guy that everybody sees as the difference maker, and that's why I see him as the most important.
I'm with you, Slick. I sat there and suffered through this conversation. And him and then this combination, all that, and I was like, tomato, oh, God, James Durant, Kevin Harden, I'll try to mix them together. I say, all right, forget it. It's KD, baby. I mean, one, just in jest, the nicknames tell it all. Like Slim Reaper, what? Durantula? People scared of spiders and death. The Beard. Ain't nobody scared of nobody Beard. Uncle Drew. Ain't nobody scared of nobody Drunk Uncle. Like, so the point is, even the nicknames tell you better look out for who KD is. And who is KD? Man, we already know, when healthy, the best player in the NBA currently right now. His usage rates, because a lot of people want to talk about, oh, well, he's coming off an injury and he only plays in spot duty, but his usage rate this season is the highest since 2013, 2014, averaging 27.5 points a game. It was really simple, too, when you start to really look at it in totality. Like, Harden went where KD was for a reason. Nobody leaves home unless there's a reason to leave home. And KD has left home before. He left OKC for opportunity, championship opportunity. Then he left over there in Golden State for another opportunity to build and to grow with some other stars. Why did Harden leave OKC? He wanted an opportunity. He wanted to be a sixth man the rest of his career. And why did he leave Houston? James Harden, the Beard, left Houston for a championship opportunity. But he went to join forces with Slim Reaper, the Durantula. And that's who it is in this situation, man. There's nowhere you put KD on the court where you say there are not going to be buckets. He's not going to make it rain. So Kevin Durant, better of the two players by the slimmest Slim Reaper of margins, but you still got to go with the guy, the 7-footer that's unguardable.
Well, here's the one added piece why I believe KD goes over the top, which is what Harden has done to this point with the Brooklyn Nets. I see why we would have a debate about this, but it's a matter of where they want to go. And what they have to improve on is the fact that they are still rated, according to Basketball Reference, the 25th best efficient or most efficient defense in the league. That has to improve. And there's one guy among their three stars who has demonstrated that he can play championship caliber defense. I will remind you, Kevin Durant was the leading shot blocker on the two championship teams with the Warriors. He knows what it looks like, and he's demonstrated that he can get it done. So if you're asking me between the two, who's got the better chance of improving the Nets defense to the level it needs to be? You tell me James Harden, and I'm laughing. If you say KD, I can say, well, at least I've seen it before.
Exactly. I mean, championship success, know what it means to be in those moments and what to do in those situations. That's something KD already has in his DNA. That's something James Harden is aspiring to do, and he can only do it with KD on his squad. Coming up, should the Patriots draft a quarterback to compete with Cam Newton? Who wrote that? We'll answer that next on Speak For Yourself. Yeah, I feel you, Cam. Watch and Speak For Yourself. Marcel Swally, Emmanuel Acho. Take a picture. Might make you rich. Let's head to New England. Cam Newton is running it back for another year in New England. But there's no guarantee he is in their long-term plans. The Patriots have the 15th pick in the draft Thursday, but reports say they can move up to get in front of the Broncos at number 9 and potentially be in line to draft Justin Fields or Trey Lance. So, Acho, should the Patriots draft a quarterback to compete with Cam Newton?
Man, they absolutely should, Sell, for several reasons. One, if Cam Newton is your present, he is not your future. And that's not even debatable. Like,
if he's your present, he's not your future.
Even if he's your present, which I'm not convinced of, but you are, even if I can concede that Cam Newton is, in fact, the Patriots' present, what is not up for debate is that we know Cam Newton is not the Patriots' future. That's number one. Number two, we all know that based on the data, Bill Belichick can't draft. Not in the last 8 years.
Wow.
He can't draft.
What?
But what Bill Belichick has always proven to historically be able to draft well, quarterbacks.
Okay.
Tom Brady, we obviously know that one, ain't gonna waste time there. Matt Castle, he goes 11-5 when Tom Brady gets hurt in 2008. Tom Brady suspended 2016. Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett. So outside of Jared Stidham, Bill Belichick, he 4 for 5 on his quarterbacks because Castle went on to start elsewhere. Brissett went on to start for the Colts. Jimmy G went on to start elsewhere. And Tom Brady went on to become the greatest quarterback of all time. So what can Bill Belichick draft? If he can't draft no other position because he hasn't drafted but one Pro Bowler, a punter, since 2013, if he can't draft no other position, he can draft them quarterbacks now. So, yes, he could draft a quarterback, not only because Cam Newton is not your future, although he may be your present. Because Bill Belichick, if you've shown a propensity to do one thing well, it's draft the quarterback position. Go ahead and draft some competition.
Woo, you gave me a lot to deal with right there. Matrix and RoboCop. Man, you do not draft at the position where you're going to run it back to see if this same quarterback can make it happen. So no, you don't draft a quarterback. No quarterback succeeds in Belichick's system year one. I've given you that stat before. Cam Newton found out the hard way. Tom Brady also found out the hard way, probably harder than going out there, because there's two things that happen to you when you're on the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick in year one. Either you sit or you suck. Simple as that. Sit or suck. Tom Brady, you sat, you're lucky. Because if you were out there, you're probably going to suck. You know why? Vinny Testaverde, that ain't go so well. You go all the way, Matt Castle, you want to bring. These guys don't even play year one, year two, year three. They're internalize it. Cam Newton, we know you're desperate. Cam Newton, we got you late. Cam Newton, no offseason, no preseason, all virtual. No one does well in our system year one, but go out there and let's see how that's going to play. That's why he's back. And he is the present. And if he plays well, he's the future. He's 32 years young, bruh. Ryan Tannehill, is he the future in Tennessee? He's 32. Older than my man Cam Newton. Russell Wilson. They're both older than Cam Newton. They're the future. So if Cam puts himself in a position where he becomes a franchise quarterback, what's to say that he can't be the future for this franchise? Let me remind you what Cam Newton had to deal with, and let me remind you what Cam Newton did, even though he had to deal with that. Most opt-outs in the NFL, we saw that with 8. Went out there and saw depleted receiving core, worst tight end group in the last 2 years of any NFL team. So no weapons. Most of the guys are gone. And they still go out there and win 7 games, 1 under 500, duh. But 4 games were so highly contested, and they lost those 4 games by 1 possession deep in the other opponent's territory. You blink, you squint, you look, that may be an 11-win season. Cam Newton rushed for 12 touchdowns last year, most since his rookie season. Cam Newton had 21 total touchdowns. Cam Newton only had 10 interceptions. 21 and 10, not a bad ratio for year one in a sit or suck system. If you look at it like this, Cam Newton had the highest of all players on his team, his touchdown percentage of any player in the NFL. He started 15 games. People say he's not durable. He's coming back from injury. He's also in a position now where he knows the system. I'm with you. My seatbelt is not tight when it comes to Cam Newton. It's really loose. I can take it off real easy. If he don't ball this year, I'm out. But right now, I'm riding comfortably with this Cam Newton.
I like your confidence in Cam Newton. I wish I had the same because I love this man. Cam Newton, I love you.
Look how you're looking at you.
I know. I know. But we know this, though. You said Tannehill's 32, Cam Newton's 32. Not all 32s are created equal.
Facts.
Not all 46ers are created equal.
Facts.
You're in much better shape than a whole bunch of 46-year-olds that I know. But here's what I also know, Stel, is this.
What's that?
Cam Newton is feast or famine. Now, I don't often get into the weeds of blackjack with you, but this just came to me, Sel. When you're counting cards, which is not illegal, but it's highly discouraged.
It's not illegal?
It's not illegal, highly discouraged. When you're counting cards, you give a numerical value to certain cards. It just helps you figure out how many face cards are left in the deck or how many low cards are left in the deck, right? That's how counting cards work. But 7, 8, and 9, they don't have a numerical value. They don't move the needle. Okay, rock with me. 10, ace cards and face cards, they have a numerical value of +1. And 6 and below have a numerical value of -1. But 7, 8, and 9 have no numerical value. What the heck that got to do with Cam Newton? You know, Cam Newton, he's never won 8, 9, or 10 games. He either wins 11 or more, or he wins 7 or less. Cam Newton is feast or he is famine. There is no in between. Like, there's no period where you're just like, oh, that was a good season. That's an okay season. Cam Newton either has great seasons or he has bad seasons. Sometimes it's good to just get a 7, 8, or 9 out there. It's good to just see that when you playing blackjack, when you counting them cards. Not illegal, highly discouraged. It's good for that. But Cam Newton don't give you that. What's Dak Prescott gonna give you? Consistency, consistency, consistency. 8 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins. 13 wins, I'll take that. 10 wins, 9 wins, 8 wins. What's Cam gonna give you? 6 wins. 13 wins. 5 wins. 11 wins. 7 wins. 12 wins. Cam ain't giving you no consistency. So draft a quarterback, because even if Cam Newton is going to ball for you, he also going to fall for you. You want somebody to stand and walk for your boy, and you don't get that out of Cam, Seth.
Damn, I like that. I like all that. I learned a lot, too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm going to go to Vegas and get whooped up. Hey, you know how to count cards, don't you? How'd that work out for you? Right here next to me. You be winning. I can't tell with the Dusty Bentley, with the fake gold. And
it's still a Bentley, it's still gold, and the suit is still custom. Dusty or fake.
Okay, it works for you. Okay, but, dog, You don't own a casino. You ain't got that much money. You got a lot of money. You ain't got that much money. So the point is, I don't think I should be counting cards when it comes to Cam Newton. Feast or famine. I get all of that. You bring up Dak as an example. You know I love me some Dak. Where's his Super Bowl appearance? When did he not dive on the football in the Super Bowl? Because he ain't been to a Super Bowl, so don't give me this, I want someone who can consistently walk. No, fall down if you're going to get back up and jump high. I'll take that. Bill Belichick can't draft. He can't draft the last 8 years. He can't draft, computer. Don't fail me now. Last 8 years for Bill Belichick. AFC Championship game. AFC Championship game. Won a Super Bowl. AFC Championship game. Won a Super Bowl. Lost a Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl. Lost in the wild card. I don't know how you want to measure can you draft. That's how I measure it. Whatever I got to do as a means to an end that gets me to where I want to be. Draft, free agency, hey, call the homie up and see if his son want to play. I don't give a damn what you do. How can you keep saying by Pro Bowl measurements that somebody can't draft when the end game are these results?
Because I'm measuring the draft by what do your draft picks accomplish? Like, what do your draft
Super
picks
Bowls.
do? No, Dante Hightower, who he drafted in 2012, Super Bowl. Devin McCourty, Patrick Chung, who he drafted in 2011 and 2010, Super Bowls.
Yeah.
These cats he done drafted now, they've been along for the ride.
They're riding.
And they're right, they're not crashing it.
Right.
So I give them that.
Wow.
But they not driving it.
So when I go to Vegas with you and you counting cards, if I'm not driving, you're going to be looking sideways at me because you just riding. Yeah, it's okay to ride with your boys sometimes. Tom Brady, take us there. Coming up, is Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers plans? We'll tell you what they should do about their quarterback situation next on Speak for Yourself. But Brady gone. Cam about to roll.
Is it? The 49ers have a lot of attention on what they'll do during this draft Thursday. Kyle Shanahan met with the media today and said they feel good about 5 guys with their number 3 pick, not the burger spot. He added that they made the trade to number 3 because they, quote, felt we needed to get a starting quarterback. We wanted to dictate it. We'll get the one that we feel is best for us. Now, Bucky Brooks is back with us after getting into some Twitter feuds, I'm sure, with Ravens fans. Bucky, good to see you. Glad you're well.
Seriously.
Sal, what should the 49ers do about their quarterback situation?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. Simple as that. Bucky, I understand that the Baltimore, for real, that's where they filmed The Wire. They don't play that with them Ravens either. They be going ham, so I know you need to go on the right side of the fence with that. But let's talk about this situation in the quarterback situation in San Fran. Golly. Jimmy G, I'm here for you, big dog. They making you a scapegoat. You don't believe me? Marcel's y'all up in you? No, I'm not. He's coach, Kyle Shanahan. 34 games without Jimmy G. 34. He's won 7. He's coached 30 games with Jimmy G. He won 22. And Jimmy G's the one that got to go? Why? Because he's injured. He's not durable. Excuse me? It wasn't like he was the only player on that team get hurt. Let's be real. If we're going to keep it consistent, let's keep it consistent. As the kids say, keep that same energy. Let's keep this same energy when we talk about Nate Bosa and his big old strong athletic, Nick Bosa, sorry. Talk about Nick Bosa. Hey, he got hurt the second year. Get him up out of here. Scapegoat. You ain't going to do that. Oh, wonder why. Let's talk about Kittle. He got hurt. Saw him. No draft pick. Get him up out of here. Oh, we ain't going to do all that. Oh, okay. About you, Chick. I love you, big dog. Harvard, Ivy League. Shout out. Saw you more in the suite than I did on the field last year. Get him up out. Oh, we're not going to do all that. So why are we doing that with Jimmy G? Jimmy G, full-time, healthy, first year, only year, takes you to a Super Bowl. I don't know why they're going to go draft at that position. When you have injuries all around and you have depth issues all around, that's why you had a porous season last year. Address other positions. Use those resources elsewhere. Let Jimmy G run it back one more time and see if he could take you all the way to the promised land.
Sal, I need you to accept something, sir. I need you to accept that taxes are unavoidable. Obviously, you've accepted that death is unavoidable. And Jimmy G, sir, is not going to be there for long. Fight it as much as you want, but please accept that fact. Marcellus, Jimmy G has started 56% of the time, 32 out of 57 starts.
More than half.
Would you be cool if your wife was faithful 56% of the time?
You know something I own?
Would you be cool if the pilot stayed awake 56% of the time? Would you be okay if a chef only made non-poisonous meals 56% of the time?
I ain't hungry either.
You wouldn't, okay? You'd be single and you'd be hungry and you would drive everywhere. That's what it sounds like. But no, you wouldn't. So let's accept the fact that Jimmy G, he's got to go. It ain't on you, Jimmy G, but your body has betrayed you, and thus it has betrayed us. So now, who do the 49ers need? They need Justin Fields because they need mobility. Every quarterback, literally every starting quarterback in the playoffs under the age of 38 last year was mobile. Every single one. Over 38 was Phillip Rivers, Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. So under 38, you got Russell Wilson. You got Mitch Trubisky. You had Heineke. You had Mahomes. You had Baker Mayfield. You had Lamar Jackson. You had Josh Allen. You had Ryan Tannehill. You had Aaron Rodgers. And you even had Wolford, who was supposed to start that game prior to getting hurt, much more mobile than Jared Goff. Every quarterback under 38 is mobile. So, Kyle Shanahan, if you see the trends of the NFL, because Phillip Rivers, he retired, Drew Brees retired, Roethlisberger contemplating retirement, and Tom Brady only has a few years left. If you see the trend of the NFL, don't flirt with Mac Jones. The ages of the pocket passer are clearly behind us. I will say it again, and I will pass the mic. Every single quarterback, every one in the playoffs, under 38, could run. Get you Justin Fields, a runner who can also sling that pill for you. That's what you need.
Well, the one thing that we do know is not going to be Jimmy G. Jimmy G has one more year, so they're going to move on from here. One more year at the max. So now it comes down to the decision. Who is going to be the pick at number 3? Now, the reports came out. They talk about Mac Jones and Trey Lance. I will say, I understand why Kyle Shanahan would want to play with Mac Jones. If he opts for Mac Jones, it's because this is a video game, and he simply needs a joystick, a quarterback that he can play the game through, someone that can be a distributor. His disappointment in Jimmy G comes from the fact that Jimmy G cannot see it the way that he sees it from the sideline. And maybe he's saying, look, I can play with whoever. I just need the quarterback to see it like I see it to be able to get it done. So maybe that's the choice of Mac Jones. And Trey Lance, what he could be seeing is, look, this guy at North Dakota State does all the stuff that we do in our offense. Under center, from the gun, add in the RPO game, add in the read option game. He does that. I can utilize the same playbook that I use with Jimmy G and the old stuff that I used to do with RG3 during my time with the Washington football team. So maybe saying Trey Lance gives me the best of both worlds because he has been in a multiple system that allows him to utilize all of his talents. I would offer Justin Fields, but I just don't know if Kyle Shanahan feels that way. But the one thing that we do know is not going to be Jimmy G because they won't better at the position because they feel like they're leaving meat on the bone when Jimmy G is the quarterback.
Man, we can't let this go, man. We just can't let Kyle Shanahan deflect like this. Displaced aggression, self-preservation one-on-one and put it all on Jimmy G when Jimmy G's the only reason we even think Kyle Shanahan as a head coach is a good head coach because he's certainly not a winning head coach. Like, I just don't understand. Like, he has a losing record. There are no excuses. And then you want to talk about, well, this belief, if he has the quarterback that can see it like he sees it. How does he see it? 21st ranking points per game. 21st points per game. 20th points per game. And second. That's second. That stands out. I wonder who was the starter. That Jimmy G. Everything else is 20 or below. So why are we letting him get away with this? Oh, because of the trends. Acho. Really? The trends? That's what we're going to do right now? Is that why you're wearing that? Is that how you dress? You should be looking like me. Don't follow trends.
You clearly didn't watch the Oscars last night. They looked like this.
They did?
Okay, no.
Yeah. You really want the Oscars to be representative of you? Because they're not representing you. Hey, you caught that dig right there. Look, dress like an OG like me, man. Keep it 1,000. Wow. I don't understand this situation. Is the quarterback you're going to draft, is he going to be better than Jimmy G? Because when Jimmy G was healthy, only one quarterback was better than him. Fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes. Is he going to be durable? Don't know. Not a single soul can go out there and testify that someone's going to be healthy and durable in the NFL. And what if Jimmy G balls this year? What you going to do? Still trade Jimmy G? Oh, no, we're going to groom a quarterback that has never played. Let's do it like that and see what happens. Well, look how that's working out in Green Bay right now in terms of draft capital with a quarterback that's not going to play. It doesn't make sense. There's just too many question marks and issues with trying to replace Jimmy G and then already saying forward thinking he got to go no matter how he plays. Bucky, please answer some of those questions.
Well, the only thing I can say is I understand why you feel that way about Jimmy G because the winning record is spectacular when he has been the starter. You talk about 22 wins that Jimmy G has been able to get done in his start, and that is significantly higher than what it is when Kyle Shanahan doesn't have Jimmy Garoppolo. But here's the thing. Kyle Shanahan is looking at the division, and he's looking and seeing Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Matthew Stafford. And he's saying, I have the worst quarterback in the division.
Oh.
How can I get better? And the only way that I can get better is by going in the draft and finding someone who gives me an opportunity to surpass some of those guys. Do I have someone that I can get that can close the gap and eventually be better than Russell Wilson, be better than Kyler Murray, be better than Matthew Stafford? Jimmy Garoppolo, we have seen the best of Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think that he can close that gap and get himself out of the cellar when it comes to the quarterback ranking. Kyle Shanahan wants more. And, oh, by the way, you talked about why isn't Kyle Shanahan ready to move on from Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and Kyle Juszczyk, because those guys were Pro Bowlers. Look, he can be fair, but he doesn't have to treat those guys equally.
Okay. Most important position is played by any of those guys? Oh, no, Jimmy G. So when we isolate Jimmy G and then we look at Kyle Shanahan, when we don't isolate Jimmy G, we realize the only reason why Kyle Shanahan is even flirting with 500. Because Jimmy G, take away Jimmy G's 22 wins. Do you want to talk about Kyle Shanahan as a head coach? Anybody? This is really reputational bias. Like, because, one, I ain't going to go all the way here, but that Shanahan name rings before, reputation, procedure. And then, then he's an OC, and you're like, okay. And then he's a losing head coach. And we won't forget that he's a Shanahan and a great OC. But this is a whole new ballgame, Bucky. I keep giving a list of offensive coordinators that struggle in transition to becoming head coaches. We see all of the Patriots coaches damn near struggle through that, Josh McDaniels, et cetera. But we are now still holding on to Kyle Shanahan for some reason. Oh, the same Kyle Shanahan that lost the Super Bowl because of his play calling. And then when he's a head coach, he loses the Super Bowl because him and his coach and his second-ranked defense can't finish the deal. Jimmy G can't hit one pass, and y'all gonna put all this on Jimmy G for one pass. And in that division, be careful now. Matthew Stafford has never won a playoff game. We'll see this year. Kyler Murray, come on, big dog. You're improving, but no winning seasons just yet. And Russell Wilson. I love me some Russell Wilson. He's better than Jimmy G. Duh. But not of late, especially in the playoffs, especially in the second half of seasons. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Watch out, Kyle. Coming up, Shaq and Kobe are all-time greats, but one of them did not make a list of the top 5 most important Lakers. We'll tell you if we have a problem with that. Next on Speak For Yourself, Jimmy G. Wednesday on FS1, it's a battle in the NL as the Braves host the Cubs. Action starts Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. The Lakers have won 17 titles, so a list of the most important Lakers of all time cannot be easy. Their governor, Jeanie Buss, gave her top 5 on the All the Smoke podcast with Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, and Phil Jackson making the cut. Take a look at Buss's top 5. Some big names that are missing include Shaquille O'Neal, who won 3 titles in L.A., and Jerry West, who was a Hall of Fame player and was the architect for several titles as their GM. And he's on every basketball in the world. Slick Rick is back, but Acho, do you have a problem with Jeanie Buss's top 5 most important Lakers?
Obviously, I do, but I love this conversation, Slick. I've been looking forward to your thoughts, been looking forward to seeing you again to have this dialogue, this like a real barbershop conversation. I'm going to give y'all my list.
I ain't got no hair.
People saying, Acho, what do you know about this? Because I had to go back and study to prepare for an everyday show years ago, last year during COVID, and rewatch actual tapes of the Showtime Lakers and rewatch the docs and rewatch the specials. So no, I didn't live it 40 years ago, but I actually relived it a year ago. Kobe, number 1. And why Kobe? Because 20 seasons, all with the Lakers, 18 All-Stars, 2 Finals MVPs, but most importantly, he won a chip without another MVP on the roster. The rest of these cats can't necessarily say that, at least not the recent ones. Then give me Magic number 2. He also gave you 5. He gave you 5 in a decade, 3 Finals MVPs. Everybody know what Magic's done. Then give me Jerry West. Not necessarily because of what Jerry West did as a player, but everyone, the historians of the game, they conclude without Jerry West, there's no move to get Shaquille O'Neal, and simultaneously no move to get Kobe Bryant from Charlotte. So give me Jerry West at my 3 spot. This is where it gets tricky, though, Sel. This is where it gets tricky.
What? It's tricky?
It did.
What?
Then you give me Kareem. Now, you're going to give me Kareem ahead of Phil Jackson. They both got you 5 chips with the Lakers. However, Kareem actually had to play, and Phil Jackson just coached. So if you're saying one is more important, give me the player. Now, I'm not talking about the totality of Kareem's career. The totality of Kareem's career, different story. Talking about what he did with the Lakers. He got you an NBA MVP, but he didn't win a chip until Magic Johnson showed up there. Let's not get that twisted. Then rounding that off, give me Phil Jackson. My first 2 out, LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal. But in all honesty, my next slap, I'm going to tell you why you could make an argument for LeBron James to take that 5th spot. But that's my 5 in order right now.
Yeah, for me, I have plenty of problems with this. And number one is that Jerry West is not on the list. Jerry West should be number 1. Keep in mind, he started the entire championship run with the Lakers in partnering with Wilt Chamberlain to bring that first championship in '72. Jerry West was so good as a player that he's the only one to ever win Finals MVP playing on the losing team. He did that a couple years before he actually won the championship. And then if you don't have Jerry West, you don't have Showtime Lakers because he was the architect of those teams. You don't have Shaq and Kobe because he was the one who drafted Kobe and convinced Shaq to come from Orlando, created the cap space in order for him to get there. So there's no way that you can't have Jerry West on here. And again, going back to the history, this is the most important Lakers. And so I have to have Wilt Chamberlain there as well because came from Philadelphia, started the playoff run in terms of the championship run, and I just can't ignore what he meant when it came to the beginning of the Lakers lore. But the biggest issue I have, and I'll get into this a little bit more, is the way this makes Jeanie Buss look as the current leader of the Lakers. I know her to be a strong, smart, calculating person. This makes her look petty. It makes her look emotional. It makes her look small. That you're going to pick LeBron James has been there for 2.5 seasons.
Watch him out.
Shaquille O'Neal got you 8 seasons and 3 championships. What are we talking about?
I need your list, Slit. You gave me ambiguity. I know Jerry West is on there. I know Wilt is on there. I need your order. Need your list.
West, Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Kobe.
Not mad at that. Okay, my turn. And you know me, I always fight gloves off. I ain't like this list. Not that much. All right, Kobe, Kareem, Magic. Don't even start talking to me. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to talk to my back because I'm out. I'm not listening to anybody remove those 3. Now, starts getting a little tricky around these parts.
Start getting a little dicey.
Okay, LeBron, you're not on the list, no matter how I cut it, unless my list is top 8. Then you can start climbing into that conversation. I will go, like she did, Phil Jackson. And Jerry West would have to fight it out either with Phil or another name I haven't even heard yet. What? Pat Riley. Anybody? Pat Riley? In the building? 4 championships? Yeah. Y'all forget it? Okay. Anyway, Showtime Lakers. Oh, okay. And see, Phil gets the love even if he's not a player because guess what? Phil was a common denominator between the Bulls' success and MJ, and then this success. True. Come on, man. Don't act like it's just all on the players. There's something there with Phil. And then Pat Riley also took his success to Miami. Be careful, y'all, right here. So those 3, Jerry West, Pat Riley, and Phil Jackson are fighting for 2 slots. LeBron's not in this fight. Why? Like you said, Slick, 2.5 years. Your first year, you didn't even make the playoffs. Then you win a championship because we had to give up the farm for AD. Now you're hurt right now as we talk present day. So LeBron, you get all the love around this world and achievements and accolades, and go to Cleveland if you want to be on the most important list, or Miami, but not the Lakers. We are talking about a different level in terms of standard. Those 3 names, West, Riley, Phil Jackson, fight it out for my last
Give me the
two.
list. Give me the list. Give me the list.
My list is Kobe, Kareem, Magic. I don't even want to hear anything about those three. Jerry West, Pat Riley, and Phil Jackson.
And the only two, you only got two.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
So you said I'm going.
I would say Jerry West for sure, and I would go Phil. But Pat Riley got it. Pat Riley right there, too.
Okay, me and you got the same list. Me and Phil got the same list. Slick, here's the issue, Slick. Number one, you can't disrespect Phil Jackson, Slick, because you ain't got him on your list. Now, Phil Jackson stuck it out. If he only had the three-peat, I'm rocking with you, Slick. I'm rocking with you if he only had Shaq and Kobe. But he stuck it out with Kobe when Kobe won with only Pau Gasol and some other light-skinned cats on the squad.
Oh, you leaving?
And he had a couple light-skinned cats and do with dreads. Okay, I don't even remember their names. I just remember the team photo. You see, like, Shannon Brown, Jordan Farmar.
Brown had hops.
Like, he did. He's crazy. I always thought he was related to Chris Brown. He wasn't.
I'm not.
So, nonetheless.
Devin
Slick,
George.
Yeah, exactly. Another light-skinned cat. You can't exclude Phil Jackson, Slick. That's probably my biggest gripe with your list. And also, Slick, Jerry West, he didn't become GM until the 82-83 season. So I don't know if you can start giving him credit for the chips they won in 80. I don't even know how much credit you're going to give him for, I think it was 82, because people say he did not construct the early Kareem and Magic. He didn't construct draft
But
Magic.
he knows Pat Riley.
But he
ain't
draft Magic, and he ain't bring over Kareem, Slick. And it was Magic and Kareem that were the nucleus. That's why I think you giving Jerry West too much credit for the early 80s contributions.
Look, he was a part of the organization and was considered a brain trust when it came to the team. So I just can't dismiss his contributions, both as a player, starting everything, and then ultimately what he did to be able to carry it forward. I mean, okay, you know what? Let's take away the Showtime era. The fact of the matter is that he built the Shaq Kobe out of nothing, essentially brought that together and made that happen and created that second iteration. But here's my other issue with Jeannie's list is the fact she didn't have to play. Like, we on this show, we generally agree what we're going to talk to, so no one of us isn't going to bail and go, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that, I'm going to talk about something else. She's going on a podcast where she's got to pick her 5 not favorite Lakers. If she said favorite Lakers, Jeannie, go to town. Pick whoever you want. These were the most important Lakers. And you simply could have said, you know what? The Lakers franchise history is too rich for me just to pick 5.
Slick, I got something for you.
I'll pick 10.
I got something for you. Now, here's why y'all have both been a little ignorant about LeBron James.
Who are you talking to?
A little bit.
As a Laker?
Oh, wait.
He was
what? You are not bringing LeBron James back in this conversation.
Not for the Lakers,
Can I bring facts into a feeling conversation? Slick, the Lakers had missed the playoffs 5 times in their history. They had missed the playoffs 5 times the 5 consecutive years before LeBron James showed up.
And the first year with LeBron.
The Lakers had the worst record in all of the NBA the 5 seasons prior to LeBron James. So without LeBron James, the Lakers would still be in the depths of purgatory of the NBA.
For sure.
So LeBron James brought we wouldn't be having this conversation because we wouldn't be interviewing Jeanie Buss if not for LeBron James, because the Lakers wouldn't be relevant. So the only reason I bring LeBron James into the 6th or 7th spot, they weren't relevant. They were the Cleveland Cavaliers of the West.
Not good is not the same as not relevant. They always are relevant.
They were relevant adjacent. So like I'd be Beverly Hills adjacent. They weren't really relevant. So, Slick, we not even having this conversation if not for LeBron James, because the Lakers would still be terrible if not for LeBron James. And we have to acknowledge that LeBron James brought the Lakers back to relevancy.
I will give you that. I will give you all that. I would also argue that if we didn't have the bubble, I'm not sure we'd be having this conversation about LeBron James having returned them to championship form. But we'll put that aside because that's Marcellus's deal about the bubble. Here's the thing. It's still only one championship. Kobe brought them back to relevancy twice. Shaq brought them back to relevancy, and they three-peated. Jerry West brought them to relevancy at least twice. Magic brought the entire league to relevancy. So, look, are you going to take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the all-time leading scorer, You're going to take him out of Showtime, and you're going to put LeBron in his place? Because that's the only switch that I can see at this point. I've got, if we're going relevancy, bringing the Lakers to relevancy, I got at least 4 guys who I can say did that more often than LeBron did.
Yeah, I'm with you, Slick. I mean, Jerry West, Phil Jackson, even Pat Riley, and Shaquille O'Neal, who spent the majority of his playing career with the Lakers, and a three-peat. Like we say three-peat like that, he went out there and did that. Not a one-off for LeBron as currently constructed. We'll see what LeBron does this year once he comes back from injury. But to even put him before Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, to Slick's earlier point, it seems like that's a little bit too much of drinking the Kool-Aid. Coming up, is Mike Tomlin already a Hall of Famer? We have a lot to say about that. Next on Speak for Yourself. Should have been like Slick said.
Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his 14 years as a Steelers head coach, and he was just rewarded with the 3-year extension. Tomlin has a Super Bowl ring on his resume, but the Steelers have only won 3 playoff games since their last Super Bowl appearance back in 2010. A guy, Bucky Brooks, still thinks Tomlin is Hall of Fame bound, saying, quote, "It might be hard for some..." Bucky, why you be using big words like this?
What's wrong?
It might be hard for some irascible. Like what? Like, Bucky, what are you doing?
You ain't gonna have me on tape saying that.
It might be something for some Pittsburgh Steelers fans to come to grips with, but Mike Tomlin isn't just one of the best head coaches in the NFL today. He's an all-time great on a path to lead to Ken. Bucky, like, for what? For what? Like, Marcel, but you went to Columbia.
Hey.
1, how do you say that? 2, what does it mean?
1, you just had an uncomfortable conversation with that full screen.
Like, no.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know what that is?
No, I didn't go to Harvard, fool. I went to Columbia. Some things is just outside
Did
of my
you not
reach.
take English? Like,
Yeah, and I stay within my comfort zone. Guess what? That's pressure. That's outside.
irascible or rascable?
Google. We'll figure that out.
What's the question? The question, though, is Mike Tomlin already a Hall of Famer?
Hell yeah, he's already a Hall of Famer. Walking Hall of Famer, living legend, as we used to call him. You know, because if you look at what Mike Tomlin has done, starting his career, no losing seasons. He's tied for the most in history with my former coach, Marty Schottenheimer. Also, you got to look at this. Mike Tomlin has more career wins than some Hall of Fame coaches. And you know me, my criteria is simple. With any club, any committee, anytime y'all want to say acceptance or not, I say, am I better than the worst one in there? And you say, yeah, well, I'm in then, damn it. If you're going to kick them out, let's talk. If not, I'm in. He's got more wins than Marv Levy, my former coach, Tony Dungy, Mike Ditka, John Madden. So more playoff wins than a couple old school coaches. Hall of Famers, George Halas, Hank Stram. Point being, yeah, he's a walking, living legend, Hall of Famer. Only thing that throws people off his scent is the fact that he'll rock the boat and he'll steady the ship. He'll like to create his own problems and fix them. That's the only reason.
Real talk.
Yeah.
First off, it's irascible, and it means having or showing a tendency to be easily angered. I feel like if we took nothing away from the show, it should be how to pronounce that word.
Irascible.
Nonetheless,
I'll use that.
Mike Tomlin is already a Hall of Famer. Everything you said.
Go.
I mean, I'm going to say everything you said and just add a little bit of something to it. Mike Tomlin, 14 consecutive years without a losing season. That's crazy. Crazy as Mike Tomlin's stat to me, though, all his quarterbacks that have started at least 2 games, no losing records. None. Like, that is the thing about the great Bill Belichick. Has several quarterbacks that have losing records, even as recently as Cam Newton, who has a losing record. But Mike Tomlin, whether it's Devlin Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, Michael Vick, Byron Leftwich, Charlie Batch, all of his quarterbacks that start at least 2 games have a winning record. But then I also think what's interesting, Mike Tomlin is one of only 20 coaches go to at least 2 Super Bowls and win 1. So if you were already on a list of only 20, then you in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because I look at it like this. There are 26 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. 260 quarterbacks have started at least 30 or more games. So 260 quarterbacks, at least 30 or more games. 26 of them are in the Hall of Fame. That's 10%. Head coaches is 26 head coaches in the Hall of Fame. But 284 head coaches have coached at least 30 or more games. Only a lesser percentage of head coaches than quarterbacks. So if you're talking about you should let more coaches in just based upon how many you're letting in. And Mike Tomlin is already one of 20, plus one of only 4, plus the only one to start 14 consecutive seasons and not have a losing season.
It's
a no-brainer.
Yeah, man. He over there gang banging, selling drugs, and doing hair out the same house. You don't know where that's from. Out to another blank stare. That means you do it all. Coming up, there was a huge trade between AFC rivals. We'll tell you if we have an issue with the Ravens.
I thought it was racial.
Make it a big
Honestly,
deal.
I was like, why is Mike Tomlin have to be gangbanging and selling drugs? Is it because he's black, Marcellus? Is it because he's black?
He's not light-skinned, so you don't like him anyway. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Oh, man, that's some old interlude. I mean, you do too much. The Chiefs and the Ravens are rivals in the AFC, but they still completed a big trade, sending offensive tackle Orlando Brown to KC for multiple picks, including the Ravens receiving a first rounder. Two-time Pro Bowler said today that Patrick Mahomes, quote, shouldn't have to run around because of me. Period. All right. Acho, have any issues with the Ravens trading Orlando Brown to their conference rival?
Huge issue, and everyone that plays for the Baltimore Ravens should have an issue with it. Lamar Jackson, he is 30-4 as a starter when he's not playing against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
He's 0-3 as a starter when playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. So in 34 games, Lamar Jackson has basically lost just as many, depending on how you look at it, or just as few games as when he plays the Chiefs. The one team Lamar Jackson and the Ravens can't beat, regardless of how hard they try, is the Chiefs. The one position the Chiefs needed help at the most is at left tackle. So you gave the one team you can't beat the one position they need most, and the dude is only 24 years of age and has gone to the Pro Bowls his last 2 seasons. You got to make it make sense. Now, why did the Ravens do that? Orlando Brown is about to be a free agent at the end of the season. He was a second-round pick. There is no fifth-year option. You realized you can't afford him at the end of the season, so rather than playing a season with him and then letting him just walk scotch-free, you trade him so at least you can get something of value in return. And the only team that was going to give you a first-round pick, the Chiefs, because they draft 31st overall. But even with all that being said and all that logic and common sense, Sel, I don't know how you can give the one team that is clearly better than you, regardless of how hard you try, the one thing they need the most.
Look, I had an issue with it, too, on the surface, because I was like, that makes no sense, right? Like, you don't help your opponents. You go out there and beat your opponents. That said, when you dive deeper into it, you're like, oh, well, it's better than not getting anything in return for Orlando Brown. This all started because Orlando Brown wants to play left tackle. And they're like, nah, big dog, we already got that handle. Ronnie Stanley, $19 million a year. I'm going to help people out in life. Big bank takes little bank. So a second rounder is talking about I'm going to get paid one day versus a guy who's already at that position you're paying. You're going to keep the guy happy who you're already paying. Now, when you have a youngster on his rookie contract, you always try to play him and say, look, get comfortable on that other side. Then we'll have this dynamic duo at the tackle sets, and we're fine. They knew that that wouldn't work because, one, Orlando's like, I want to play the other position. And two, your money's going to dictate you having newfound power, and therefore we're not going to get anything in return anywhere. Are we going to franchise tag him? Are we? And he's not happy playing where we want him to play. So now you got the Ravens stuck. So let's get something in return for all of your issues.
Here's the dichotomy of it all, though, Sel. The left tackle is the most important position outside of the quarterback on the offensive side of the football.
Depends on quarterback arm, though.
Because it protects the quarterback's blind side.
Right.
So that was my point. Now you're going where I'm going.
I'm with you.
Orlando Brown is actually protecting Lamar Jackson's blind side. Although Orlando Brown is playing the second most important position in football for the Ravens, for the rest of the league and for the rest of his finances, it doesn't necessarily correlate. Nonetheless, to help the only team that you can't beat, golly, that hurts me. Coming up, the Lakers are struggling, but LeBron James could save the day. We'll tell you if the king can fix all of LA's issues. That's next. And boy, they got some issues. Speak for yourself. Now, Anthony Davis was back in the Lakers lineup the last 2 games, but it ain't matter since LA dropped them both to the Mavericks. Now, LeBron could only watch from the bench, but a report says he could return next week to help the 5th-seeded but quickly falling Lakers. So, Marcellus, will LeBron be able to fix the struggling Lakers?
Oh, the king? Absolutely. I mean, look, if you gave him some of that good vino that he likes to drink, even on the sidelines, he'll tell you the truth. Yeah, I'm load managing right now. I'll be back when you need me most. Last time he got some rest, they did their best, right? Remember that 5-month layoff? LeBron came back, activated, they win a championship. So, yes, a situation where he can come and fix. Him and AD, still lethal combo, bro.
Bingo. For me, it's not just what LeBron adds to the Lakers. Like, LeBron clearly makes the Lakers better just by his presence. But what nobody really understands is LeBron makes all the other Lakers players better as well. Look at their PER when LeBron James is on the court versus when he is not on the court. Look at how he creates open shots for them. Look at how much better Kuzma is. Look at how much better KCP is. All these dudes that can't create their own shot, or in Kuzma's case, can't create his own quality shot. All these dudes are made better when LeBron's on the court. So you get LeBron, who's been to 9 out of the last 10 finals, so you know he a lock. You get LeBron, plus he makes everybody better, plus he by himself is just better. I think he can solve the issue, Sel.
LeBron living by them old man rules. You know, when you at home, you're on the couch, you don't get the remote when you old. You tell the youngsters, go get it. THT, Kuzma, go get the remote, and they are happy
Can
to get
MJ
it.
already get the remote?
Yeah, he can, and he hits the wrong channels every single time. The little sucker with them big old fat fingers he got. LeBron can fix the Lakers' issues. Social issues? Racial issues? I don't know about that. That's it for us. Fox That Live's next.